Thank you very much for having me here. It's a strange situation to be in after a very exciting session which had me spellbound too, and suddenly to move from India, Pakistan to something that's happening within our bodies. So I hope there is some interest in our own bodies, and of course, I believe everyone is interested about being youthful and living longer. I'm not claiming to come with the final answers here, but I hope to have a good conversation. So the idea is, can hormones help us live longer? Well, it's not a yes or no answer, but we know that there's a big question. The question has arisen because our life expectancy now is around 70 years, 2 or 3 years more in women, less in men. The fact is that our life expectancy in 1947 was 31 years. So we have a huge population that is rapidly growing, which is in the 65 plus or 70 plus age group. And that's where the problem. So while we've managed many aspects of nutrition, infection, vaccination, so many things to help our people live longer, they're also living longer at the risk of being exposed to many of the conditions we never saw before, because there weren't that many older people. So health span is very important. Living longer alone is not enough. You need to live healthy. And I think that's the key. Living healthy is the important thing. If you live to be 90 and the last 5 years of your life you're spending in and out of the ICU, it's not a great idea. Not that we can prevent it always. On the other hand, if you live, till 85, but you actually live healthy till 84 or 85, then that's probably a better option. So health span is very important than just the number of the lifespan. What are the number of healthy years that you've lived? And there are only 3 aspects, and Gulpanag and I will discuss those. One is GLP-1, which everyone talks about, Ozempic and Mounjaro, semaglutide, tirzepatide, all that stuff, which is changing the way we look at health and disease. Hormone replacement therapy, for a long time a no-no, but there are some changes there. What about testosterone replacement for men in their midlife? That's also a subject that is really important, and I get a lot of requests for both HRT and testosterone replacement. And what will be our key takeaways? I've already defined this. So sorry, I'll not be academic, but we need to know that estrogen is produced in our ovaries, in women obviously, and its production actually just falls at menopause. So unlike in men, where there's a very slow process, estrogen coming from our ovaries rapidly declines at menopause. So women have an event in their life, which is the menopause. It's also not a one-day event, over a few years, but definitely they have a sharp drop in estrogen. Now, till they have estrogen, they're protected from many conditions. Even heart disease is far lower in women, and one of the reasons they are thought to live a little longer than men is the estrogen that they live with. So, but unfortunately, fortunately, the way nature designed is that there is a sharp drop and it goes to 0 almost at menopause. So this is important to understand. The other important part is that, can we do anything about it? It's a natural human process. Why should we interfere with that? Well, there has always been an attempt to use estrogen in women who are at menopause. Does it make sense? We can use estrogen alone, or we can use it another hormone called progesterone. But there is no doubt that not all menopausal women are the same. Some have a very difficult time with symptoms, with hot flashes, with night sweats, and we keep getting these requests for treatment. And clearly estrogen is the only thing that really works there. So if you have a sharp drop in your estrogen accompanied by these symptoms, estrogen may be the answer for you. Mood changes, sleep, all these things can respond to estrogen, which means for a few years that you use it, around menopause, you may have a decline in these symptoms, or actually quite a dramatic response in these symptoms. There are other things that women often look at, cosmetic things which we're not discussing now, maybe we'll have it in the panel. But very importantly, the reduction in osteoporosis. Now, some of us, when I started working in this field 25, 30 years ago, no one spoke about osteoporosis. India में नहीं होता है, ऐसे कुछ नहीं है, osteoporosis क्या होता है? But we realize that it's quite common in India. All of you, if you scratch your brains, think of elderly people in the family, would have had somebody who's had a hip fracture or, has been bedridden because of fracture. Think of people in their 70s and 80s. It's not uncommon at all. It's quite common in India. And estrogen clearly protects the bone. The moment our estrogen level goes down at menopause, calcium leaks out from our bone. So that's another area where there's not too much controversy about estrogen. But there are other things. It's not that simple. Otherwise, we would all be there. The important part is that when you use estrogen, you're also worried about side effects. The side effects which will be discussed are in a particular, the whole phobia about estrogen is linked to breast cancer. Uterine cancer is managed, but breast cancer can be a huge phobia, and we'll discuss that. Also, the fact is that if you use estrogen in younger women, you're pretty safe as compared to what was considered unsafe earlier. And why I'm saying that? The study that based all of this is the Women's Health Initiative, which followed up women, and this study was released in 2001 or 2. And I think the important part it showed was that there were increased risk of breast cancer, increased risk of blood clotting. Those are not good side effects. But the fact is the mean age of women in that was 63. Now, the moment you sift the data, and now you have follow-up till 2024 on that, and even at that time, a lot of us, including, I can say myself, in international forum, some of my Australian colleagues used to fight all the time that don't diss HRT for this reason. Because it has not shown anything adverse in women at 50, 51, 52, 53 in that same group. It's only because the mean age is high, that's why you're getting an adverse impact. So the fact there could be an age stratification where estrogen or hormones can be used or should be used for benefit and not in the older women. So a very simple thing to answer that was that till your vessels are still healthy, estrogen works, blood vessels. As we grow older, vessels go thick and hard, and then estrogen may not work and may even be counterproductive. So that's theory, but that's how it's been explained. We already spoke about these, and we can discuss this as we go along. So in 2025, why are we having this session? Why didn't I go straight on the weight aspect? Is because FDA has changed the label for estrogen. And it said that women are being deprived of choice, deprived of the benefits of HRT based on data which is misinterpreted. Data is very much there and it's very correct. But the fact that if you look at younger women in their category, in their criteria, 10 years of menopause, they actually have a lot of benefits. So that option should be kept open and don't dismiss HRT. They've removed the label. They've removed the black box warning on that saying that no, can cause this, etc. Because there is a difference in that. And also, when we look at younger women who've undergone surgery for their ovaries and uterus, the benefits are striking. So if someone at 40 has undergone surgery and ovaries are not there, they're dramatically benefit by use of estrogen. So that's one, again, age. The younger the age, the more the benefit. So even mortality reduction has been shown in that very clearly. So the sentence the FDA used, and that's why I'm saying this, clinicians have systematically underprescribed HRT because of an overestimation of risks stemming from outdated, non-age stratified data. I mean, those are strong words, but those are the words of the FDA. So, and very quickly, just 2 lines about male testosterone hormone. And you know that there is no event like menopause, there's no andropause, there's nothing that happens in men, but there is a slow decline in testosterone. And it can have many, many things. We somehow connect testosterone just to libido and sexual function. But a low testosterone can impair your working capacity in many ways. Fatigue, tiredness, muscle strength, bone strength, all that can be affected. So quite clearly, testosterone, which is produced from the testes, also from other glands, we won't go into all that, but is very important for reproduction, very important for sexual function, but also important for a lot of other body functions, which especially muscle and bone, which we tend to forget. And therefore, TRT is also, TRT as we call it, testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, is also very much there and in use And you can see there is a slow decline in male sex hormones. As you can see here, gradually the decline, the pointer is not showing, doesn't matter. So when you have symptoms of fatigue, tiredness, non-specific symptoms, maybe decreased libido, and you demonstrate clearly via a blood test that the testosterone is deficient, and that's a key point, and we'll discuss that. What does testosterone deficiency, how do you define it? Then you may be a good candidate for testosterone therapy under monitoring of your physician or endocrinologist. I think this is incredibly important because you can't do it randomly. The problem in testosterone is that people are taking it completely randomly. Those who actually require it don't take it. Those who don't require are pumping themselves. Every gym you go, every bodybuilding sort of competition you go, and I get so many youngsters who are still in their 30s, and they've taken astronomical doses of testosterone. And now their testes have shrunk, their sexual drive is gone, and now they're getting married, and now they don't know what to do. And they take like 5 to 10 times the advocated dose of testosterone because you're using it for a different purpose. I'm talking purely of maintaining health. So testosterone therapy, where it should be used, again, is not being used, and where it should not be used is being excessively used. There are issues about prostate there, and we can discuss that, but in one line, prostate issues are almost now negated. If you've done a baseline prostate exam, testosterone doesn't really cause prostate cancer. So that's one important point. And the last 1 or 2 minutes are what everyone's talking about these days. So I switched it around and put this at the end, and that is the weight loss drugs, as you call them, and that was the title of the book that we spoke about, The Weight Loss Revolution. GLP-1 agonists, in common parlance, you know them as Ozempic and Mounjaro and Wegovy and semaglutide and tirzepatide for us, for doctors, right? So these drugs have clearly changed the way we manage chronic health conditions, both in terms of prevention as well as treatment. And while everyone may think it is just, they produce a lot of weight loss, and that's why they're great drugs, actually they are health modifying drugs. They do much more than produce just weight loss. And weight loss alone cannot be the criteria for evaluating these drugs. So that is wrong. Of course, they produce weight loss, which is fantastic. We never had tools to help people lose weight earlier, but we do now. So we had either diet, lifestyle, or we had surgery. We had nothing in between, a whole vacant area in between. And that's where these drugs fit in, if required. And definitely they have changed the way, and I predict that they will change the way that human health is managed. Not to take away from the basics, but these drugs have added a great deal. So, huge amount of discussion and editorials on will they actually increase our lifespan? We don't know that yet. But let me tell you a few things here. Whenever you are treating disease properly, if you treat your diabetes properly, maintain your numbers at target, if you treat your blood pressure properly, if you treat your cholesterol properly, you're already increasing your lifespan very significantly. So we should not forget disease management is one very important part. Prevention is very important, but if you have a condition, you need to manage it. Sometimes people say, I do everything right, so I don't care about my numbers. Not correct. So disease management is the basis. And then, why GLP-1s have become important? Because they reduce the risk of heart attacks. They reduce the risk of fatty liver. They actually treat fatty liver. They reduce the risk of kidney progression, kidney disease progression. So, it's all of that we are looking at, and that's where longevity talk, not just the weight going down, which is what has taken the world by storm, and people are injecting themselves and managing all kinds of stuff. So that is the major question. All these things we've discussed, these three aspects, all have side effects. All you need to understand the side effects, talk to your doctor, do it under medical supervision always. So this is a picture, and I'm ending here, which I took on my morning walk last Sunday, I think. This Sunday it looks difficult because tomorrow is a meeting also. But this is right outside my house, and these are so the sun at this time seems delightful. February sun in any case is good. This is a phenomenon called komorebi in Japanese, where the sunlight comes through the trees. And isn't it wonderful? Same sun, you go out at 12 noon and you'll say, oh my God, what is this? So the thing is, everything depends on the timing. And everything depends on how you do it. If you do things at the right time, the right way, you will get a lot of relief. If you do them at the wrong time, you may face a lot of difficulty. I don't think I'll go on further. I'll now open it up for discussion. I think Ms. Panag would probably take it forward.
Dr. Mithal, it was absolutely fascinating hearing you speak. For those of you who don't know, Dr. Mithal is also Padma Bhushan. And it is indeed an honor for me to be sitting here and doing a private yet public consultation with him. So I'm very, very happy. And since I've taken the route of consultation, Dr. Saab, you know, my first question is for the women in the room, and I'm happy to see that we're about 40% women, and maybe only 10% of the age group where this conversation will be relevant, but the ones who are not in this age group should also be listening to this conversation, the young ladies at the back. There's a lot of chatter suddenly about HRT. There's, you know, as Radhika just said, for the longest time, HRT was a villain, and you demystified that because of the sampling, the sample sizes, and the age profile and the mean ages of the original samples that led to the conclusions, which, as you said, many of you fought. Sort of villainized HRT. And women were denied the benefit that could come from hormone replacement therapy. I'm actually going to lead in with a different question. How come suddenly everybody is talking about HRT? Is it because of the Netflix documentary? Is it because of the fact that it's all over everybody's Instagram? Or is it because pharmaceutical companies are now finding yet another target group that they were very happy to ignore for 45, 50 years, because all research dollars in women's health pretty much ended at childbirth. So what happened to woman's life after childbirth, after she was of reproductive age, no longer mattered, because the entire research dollars in medical healthcare were going into taking care of men. So, on that premise, why are we suddenly talking about HRT? Do you think the pharmaceutical companies have something to do with it? Is it marketing? Is it identifying a new age group? What is going on?
I think that's a great question, and certainly pharma have their own ways. So, but I don't think this particular aspect right now could be pharma-driven. I don't know if any hidden sort of movements that I'm not aware of, but the fact is as follows. In the 90s, when I was still young and an endocrinologist, and HRT was, in the US, was 100%. Like, when I was in Boston, if you didn't prescribe HRT to someone at menopause, you had to give an explanation why. So in India, it never picked up that way, but that's how it was. It is one study that threw it out, and the Million Women study, and two studies, you can say, Women's Health Initiative in 2001-2, that just threw it out. So in typical US fashion, either everyone gets HRT or HRT is a villain. So, and there were plenty of us, as I was saying, who were saying that, look, I mean, I don't know how you're interpreting this. It doesn't make sense. So the reasons for HRT revival and the FDA removing the warning are as follows. Number one, the fact that the data was analyzed in 2024 and clearly showed that women in their 50s or within 10 years of menopause did not get into any trouble at all, had considerable benefit. So that's first. The second that happened was that the molecules changed in the sense that we were using much cruder estrogen and progesterone now. Now we have perfect estradiol, I mean the same hormones that are present in the body, and micronized progesterone. So the use of these two, some of the side effects you're getting around. For example, the clotting side effect and others, even breast cancer, dramatically down if you use these newer molecules, which are not that new, which have been around for 10 years at least. Right. The third is the route of administration. That is, if you use it transdermally, you are able to avoid that whole clotting axis that goes through the liver. Meaning, what I'm saying is, estrogen has been associated with increased clotting. But if you use dermal patches, then you avoid that. So this data was accumulating over the years. Plus, the FDA took a step of reviewing the WHI data. So therefore, it's still not a blanket thing. It's not like the 90s. But the right hormone at the right time, by the right route, should not be denied to
And by
women
the
who are
right
suffering.
practitioner.
That obviously is a
Because
challenge.
I want to interrupt you, Dr. Saab, here. I'm seeing a lot of practitioners on women's health reach their target audience through forums like Instagram, where it's challenging to verify their antecedents and also to find out whether they are peer reviewed and what their peers think of them. So for me, while I'm very happy as a woman that HRT has entered the conversation and it's being spoken about at a forum like this, what also makes me a little concerned is that today, the dosage, the quantity, the category, the quality of the hormone replacement is being prescribed by women who are struggling, are looking for solutions, and sometimes finding them online through online consultations by doctors who are perhaps not endocrinologists.
So I think that's my pet peeve actually. We are struggling with this. Not endocrinologists, not even doctors. You don't know who's telling you what on Instagram.
Somebody says have creatine. Somebody has. I mean, apart from the hormone bit.
Yeah,
but
everything.
The not knowing the physician who is prescribing this to you just because you're so desperate to find some solution to your challenges. You know it's so challenging for women to navigate this phase of their lives, perimenopause
Absolutely.
and menopause, that any help seems like help, and then it comes in the form of I don't want to use the word quack, but it comes in the form of pop support.
So I think
By
it's
Instagram.
quackery. I mean, you're being kind. I think it's just plain quackery. I think it's illegal. It shouldn't even be done. And you've seen China has, for example, now tried to, I mean, China is different, of course, tried to regulate even those who give nutrition advice on
Women's
Instagram,
health?
and also definitely health advice. You need to, otherwise you can be hauled up. So what I'm saying is that yes, Instagram and such social media channels, which are actually very good for disseminating information, but the ability of the reader to distinguish is very limited. So I'll add one point here. Number one is all the three drugs we're going to talk about, all three should be prescribed ideally by trained endocrinologists, if not by a senior physician or gynecologist.
We're still talking about HRT.
HRT, testosterone,
We'll
and
come back to that. I
GLP-1.
just want to
But
just
all of them,
isolate
all of
HRT
them,
for the
yeah.
moment.
So all of them have to be prescribed by them. The challenge, however, is the way the world is going, and with AI and all these platforms coming in, it'll be impossible to implement that. That's what I see. I keep saying it has to be implemented, regulation. But I think it's going to be increasingly, I'm just sharing this, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be increasingly hard for people to implement strict regulation in medical. So we will have, as specialists, as doctors, to come out with simpler algorithms, take away the complexity and say, okay, these are the criteria by which people can still go ahead with HRT with just a physician or maybe, whatever. Whereas, if anything more than that, you need to see an endocrinologist. I mean, I'm just saying, this is the way my mind is working because it's impossible to keep up with the information that patients bring these days. Yeah.
I'm going to come back to regulation in a bit, but very quickly, I want to address the elephant in the room, the red carpet elephant, the fact that today you're seeing that GLP-1 drugs have moved from diabetic clinics to red carpets, where when a metabolic drug becomes a lifestyle drug, does medicine lose control of the narrative?
Yes, it already has. It already has.
And should healthy people just wanting to take a shortcut to looking better be using GLP-1 drugs purely for aesthetic longevity?
Well, absolutely not. Maybe I sound like an old fogey, but no. I mean, that's not the way it's supposed to be. These are drugs that were developed for diabetes, but are also very good for weight loss. Because
weight loss in order to achieve better
health,
physical parameters and better health.
Yes. Defining obesity as a disease, which the WHO did in 1997. Above particular cutoffs of weight, obesity is labeled as a disease. So you treat a disease, right? And then you need medication, you take medication from your doctor. That's it. As far as we are concerned, it is not an aesthetic drug, but it's already out of control. You're absolutely right. And it is a challenge to control these things. But the fact is that when you're treating someone with GLP-1, you're controlling their blood sugar, you're treating their fatty liver, you're protecting their heart, you're protecting their kidney disease progression. But to do that, there's always a risk-benefit ratio. For someone to lose a few kilograms, 3 or 4 kilograms before her daughter's wedding, or this lady who I saw just last week, who is all of 45 kilograms. And she wants to be 42 because she was that in college. She's now 50. I mean, what do you do? This is like
that's
bizarre.
where we're seeing that the medicine bit has ended and the enhancement culture
Yes.
has begun, where we're creating a generation that believes pharmacology can actually replace discipline. I mean, we were talking about this in the lounge, Dr. Saab, that there is no supplement for clean eating, regular exercise, and good sleep. These are the lifestyle choices we need to make, not maybe choose pharmacology, which is now the new replacement for disciplined lifestyle.
So there are two aspects to that. Number one, when you talk of longevity, the best hacks are the same that we were told from childhood. Eating healthy, exercising regularly, sleeping well, not smoking, no alcohol, and of course, reducing your stress as much as you can. Trying to maintain an ideal body weight. These are the lifestyle hacks. Probably you are the best example of that. So these are the lifestyle hacks that won't change. We are looking at the fact that some people cannot control their cravings genuinely. One of the challenges I have is that, and I'm sure she's not like that, but people who are like Gul actually look at every fat person with a certain degree of disdain and khata bahut hai, aise hi bolte hai, willpower nahi hai. But that blaming has to go because some of them genuinely have a problem. They have a problem in their brain wiring. They cannot control their cravings, and that's why these drugs are so successful.
So you spoke about hacking, Dr. Saab. Is biohacking real? I mean, can you biohack and become a more youthful version of yourself at 60 than you could potentially have been, let's say, 20 years ago today? I mean, for a fact, I think the way we see aesthetics today has changed dramatically. Today's 60-year-olds are not the 60-year-olds of 20 years ago. So, is biohacking a reality? And is being able to use hormones to supplement your lifestyle, in whether it's HRT or it's GLP, a part of biohacking?
I suppose yes, but I don't agree with it, but I do think yes, because that's what is happening. As I said, I am conservative in this. I'm a big user of GLP. Reasonable
But you won't give me a
HRT.
GLP pen, even if I'm your friend and I befriend you.
No. It's all my friends who are creating problems for me, or their wives, because they want to get into their,
So only the wives want to look better, the men are happy with the way they
Men
look.
are actually not very bothered. Sometimes I find men who will come and say, you're 120 kilograms, you need to do something. I'm quite fine. I feel fine. I don't feel anything.
They would rather go for TRT.
That's a separate story.
Yeah, but I want to hear that very quickly. So they're
of
okay
course.
with being 120
So
kgs, but they
that
would
doesn't
rather
bother
go
them.
for testosterone replacement therapy as a shortcut, right? So it's instant gratification world where you don't want to exercise, eat right, sleep well, abstain from the things that could damage your body, but want quick results through GLPs. And similarly, you don't want to lose weight, but I'll take TRT.
So again, if you use it in the wrong person, TRT, testosterone is not a great drug, but it is an amazing molecule which gives us a lot of power to help our patients who are truly deficient. So one example, and you hit the nail on the head when you're saying, even when you treat people with GLP and if they lose a lot of weight, their waist goes down, then testosterone also improves actually. So testosterone is also linked to our metabolic health. But keeping that aside, there are still a very substantial number of people, maybe 20% in some studies, who in their midlife, men, who have fatigue, tiredness, loss of libido, loss of interest in everything, and when they measure their testosterone, which has to be measured at 8 a.m. in a fasting state by a particular technique, sorry to be technical, but it has to be like that, otherwise you get all wrong results. If it is low and you have these symptoms, it can really help you. So nothing wrong with that. Preserve your muscle. You know, Indians don't have muscle mass.
We can do strength training.
Of course, that is a given. So this is an important point for both these things, which you said. And I missed emphasizing that. So one is that, hacks we talked about, but also the fact that if you're on any of these drugs, so if you're on GLP-1, if you're on Ozempic or Mounjaro, you choose to go down that path, your doctor agrees you're a candidate, please do not do it without proper lifestyle measures, which includes, in particular for GLP-1, enough protein in the diet, and not just the kind of exercise people like I used to do, walk or yoga. You have to do strength training.
Right.
You have to add that. Why this talk of strength training? Suddenly in India, everyone's talking about strength training because people are losing weight.
And muscle mass and bone density.
Absolutely. So because people are losing weight now, you lose weight. So if you're 100 kilograms, let's say someone is 100 kilograms, and you become 80 kilograms with the help of GLP-1 drugs, you lost 20 kg weight, fantastic. You're feeling better, your sugars are fine, everything is good. But you've lost about 4 or 5 kg muscle, by the way. So unless you do that initially, when you're starting out in the phase of rapid weight loss, incredibly important, we actually for the first time have started giving exercise prescriptions.
Right.
That you please jolly well have to report what you've done. And the same thing about protein. Another thing about protein, we are also sometimes very stuck. Our traditional diet, हम तो घर पे खाते हैं और हम तो vegetarian हैं. The two standard answers that are here. Nothing wrong, both are good things, but you have to ensure adequate protein. Even in that, you have to ensure. So if you're not going to do that, you're not a candidate for these drugs.
So, Dr. Saab, we're actually out of time, but I do want to speak about two things. Regulation, and we'll do that in 1 minute, and then I have a quick rapid fire where you're only allowed to answer in 10 seconds. But regulation, the promise of eternal youth is that scientifically honest and commercially seductive. And we regulate food labels, we regulate drugs for disease. But should there be clear regulatory category for enhancement medicine? And should practitioners on social media, going back to the earlier conversation, should practitioners be brought under, I wouldn't say stronger, but more severe regulatory controls? Could you quickly answer that so we can dive into the rapid fire?
In one line, the drugs are under regulatory control. Drugs that we are talking about, all, if the laws are followed, they cannot be they shouldn't be misused.
And the practitioners?
But the other part, the supplements and all that is going on for youthfulness, because they are classified as nutraceuticals and others, they are not under any regulatory control. So there should be more control, there should be more discerning dissemination of information. So the drugs, let me say very clearly, technically speaking, theoretically speaking, all drugs are under control actually. You can't just pick up a GLP-1 and use it, technically speaking.
Even if you're friends with Dr. Mithal. Okay. All right. Before we end this, very quick...
I'm not aware of any of this. None of the questions were planned. and now there's a rapid fire.
And now now for the surprise. Okay. 3 rapid fire questions. 1 hormone that's overhyped.
Cortisol?
I thought you were going to say testosterone. Okay.
No. Cortisol.
1 hormone that's underused. Okay. Can you quickly give me a 1-line explanation as to why is cortisol overhyped?
Because circulating levels of cortisol do not reflect accurately our stress levels. Either cortisol is associated with disease, which is different. But nowadays people are saying, oh, my cortisol is high, that's why it's happening like that. So you don't know. I mean, what level is high and what level is not high.
And mental and physical stress could
raise the cortisol.
Like running a marathon raises your cortisol.
So in principle, the physiology is correct. Physical and mental stress will raise the cortisol. But which is the level that is high?
Right.
When do you...
We don't know.
People are just using all kinds of numbers.
1 hormone which is underused.
I think actually both the sex hormones, estrogen and testosterone in India, I'm talking Indian context, they're underused.
Okay. Last question. Is 80 going to be the new 60?
I don't know. That's what everyone's talking about. The idea is to do our best, what we can for our health, and have our doctors do the best too. But yes, it has changed, as you said, from when I was a kid to now. And I guess most of the change has happened at the moment because of better nutrition and better disease management. So hopefully, don't neglect your disease. Follow the basic lifestyle hacks. Ask your doctor if you're a candidate for any of these. Then maybe 80 will be the new 60. Who knows?
Well, here's to hoping that 80 is the new 60. Thank you so much, Dr. Mithal. It's been delightful talking to you. Thank you very much.